Hello, Prajnanandan. Congratulations to you. Very proud about your results. Rank in the top 20s, 30s, always a very big achievement. The marks are generally very narrow in terms of the best 5, 6, 10. So, congratulations to you once again, Prajnanandan.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to interact you with on this platform.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure too. And you have been working as SDM for some time, isn't it, Prajnanandan?
I am working as Deputy Collector.
Deputy Collector. And since when is that?
Since last December. So I was in training for around 1 year and I joined as Deputy Collector in this Bargarh district in December 2023.
Okay. So now you are formally into the IAS also. And our wishes to you, I'm sure you'll do well. Now, what stands out in your preparation and your mark sheet, your rank? Extraordinary marks you have got in geography. Your interview marks are very inspiring, 198. Fairly good marks in essays. So what I conclude from this is you have a fairly good writing skill. You express well. So how did you develop this, Prajnanandan? Was it a conscious effort while schooling or after that? How did you do this?
I think it is my efforts of last 4 years because in first attempt I got only 662 in mains. So then I improved. Then I went to around 730. Next attempt I went to 764, and this time I got around 820 around. So I think it's a gradual improvement in learnings over this last 4 years.
So how did your exact learning happen? What is it that you were making mistake in the first few attempts, and what was different in this attempt? What changed in your writing skills?
Like from starting, it was a gradual improvement. So in starting, I was not able to complete the paper. So my first priority was to increase my writing speed and write in a systematic way, write precisely. And I tried to do that in my second and third attempt. In third attempt, it was almost perfect, except that the content was not enriched as much. So from third attempt to fourth attempt, I focused only on the examples, data, statistics, all these part. And I tried to give one example after every sentence so that it doesn't look like a generic statement. So that was my first priority this time.
So if I summarize this, one important aspect is writing fast and finishing the paper on time. That's one. Yes. Second is writing rich content, which is through examples and from data. Yes. So did you maintain a separate notebook of examples, data, case studies? How did you do this part?
For GS, yes, I have written, I did it in OneNote app. So, and before exam, I took a printout and I revised that before the exam. And for geography, I summarized every topic, almost 50%, 60% topics I summarized in 1 or 2 pages, which I shared in my Telegram channel also. So that I revised before the exam. So in that 1 or 2 pages, the exact framework was there, and some data, that part which I could not remember, that part was there. Similarly, in ethics also, I maintained separate PDF for examples and historical examples from Ramayana, Mahabharata, all this. So I learned all this from previous year toppers only. So they shared their notes on their Telegram channel. I took some examples from there, some examples from their answer booklets. So like that only I prepared a whole database.
For every topic, you had some data, you had some examples,
yes.
You had references to whatever sources you could. And you have done this for almost entire GS paper, in particular ethics?
Not entirely, particularly for ethics and few from, and that was the whole database is there. So I revised that only. But for geography, I maintained separate notes.
So what was the source of your geography data, geography facts, examples?
For geography, something from class notes and the monthly magazines, that Cosmos also, and some part from other institutes also. I like that. And few things comes from the GS part also, like the main 365 part and PT 365 part. So all these combinedly, I made notes, and I tried to implement that in my answers. And some comes from also we give many test series, and they provide some kind of answers to that. So in that model answers also some data fact is there.
So basically, it's a dynamic way how you have been changing. And I'm happy you mentioned Cosmos. That's a very important initiative we started for current affairs, environment, and geography. So I'm happy that you mentioned that. But yes, it's a diverse source you have taken, including newspaper reading also, that helped you probably.
Yes.
Now, your marks in geography, you have scored 284 marks, if I'm not wrong, and
Yes.
yeah, 153 in paper two. Now, paper two is one paper. I mean, people are scared of paper one. Some of the students, some are scared of paper two. Paper two is very applied in nature. Paper two is very India-centric issues. How did you handle this paper two in particular? 153 marks is very nice marks, very incredible marks, Prajnanandan.
Yes. So in my third attempt, I got less marks in paper two than paper one. And so this time I focused more on paper two, and I tried to link all the concepts of paper one in paper two. So I tried to write paper two as a paper one answer. So in that way, also I used more maps and regional maps as well. Wherever I could add maps, I added. And I also added a few case studies also in my answers. So I think that helped me improve my mark. And also in paper one, my maps were also a 9 out of 10 were correct. So I think that
Okay.
also helped few marks.
So map work was very good. For every answer, you had mapped it to paper one. You have taken concepts from
Yes.
paper one
Yes.
and case studies, data to keep
Yes.
it more relevant to current affairs.
Yes.
If I ask you, I mean, I do not know, it's been some time now, you may have forgotten. Say there was one question on a role of Indian Earth observation satellite in enhancing weather forecasting, disaster management. This was question number 1C of paper 2. Role of Indian Earth observation satellite technology, enhancing weather forecasting and disaster management. Can you tell us how would you have approached this question? What you have written, that's a different thing. How do you approach a question like this? Because it looks like a science and tech and question, it looks like a GS question. How did you answer this type of questions?
I think whatever I could remember now. So first, in introduction, I gave examples of Earth observation satellites. That is first way, and the role of ISRO, the term ISRO also will be there, and
Okay.
apart then some maps will be there, some diagrams will be there, and after that I would have written first part will be about weather forecasting and second would be about disaster management. So in weather forecasting, uh, I think it will be more of a generic kind of answer. So I would have written something related to agriculture. So how monsoon
Okay.
affects India's agriculture, and how this Earth observation satellite helps us predicting the weather, the El Nino effect, or and the cloud bursting effect, all those. So and I also gave example. I might have gave example of that Mosam app of IMD.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so how they link this data into this app, and the app will be user friendly for the farmers to take steps in case of difficult weather. I think that, and in part of disaster management, I think I would have divided it into like for forecasting flood, for forecasting forest fires, and for drought forecasting. I like that only I would have answered this question. So exactly I am unable to recall, no? But that
Yeah, if
may have
I
been
just
my
wanted
answer.
how does your mind work? So if I'm summarizing, you have picked up all the keywords of the question.
So
Okay, you have picked up the word Indian Earth Observation Satellite. You have picked up the word weather forecasting. You have picked up the word disaster management.
yes,
Okay, then you probably pick up the most important first word. You try maybe explaining that, linking with ISRO and all of that.
yes,
Then you have, I think, broken up the topic called weather
yes,
forecasting.
yes,
Okay, and then broken up the topic called as disaster management.
yes,
Okay, okay, and examples you might have given.
yes.
So if I ask you, how do you link this with paper one?
For the satellite technology, I think one or two lines we can write in a conclusion about how this helped India, the Rostov's development model, stages of growth.
Ah,
So I think this satellite technology helped India from going towards the last one, the consumption. I think
so applied basis of how it can be used for regional development, how
yes,
it was used for economic development. And you
yes,
also mentioned El Nino. That's also paper one mapping to some extent.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
But
So
this is
we
one such
just
questions where it is difficult to link with paper one. So, but we can add something in introduction or conclusion.
Would you like to take up any question, Prajan, on your own, if you have the paper with you? If you think you want to demonstrate one or two questions, exactly how did you take up?
Like a few questions are direct, like 2B, that millets question is completely direct question. So in that way, we don't think any problem. Like why are millets considered as nutri-cereals? So you can write what all nutrition contents are there, and why it is climate resilient. So it needs less water, and India's, we can saw the dryland areas, dryland
Correct,
farming.
dryland areas, correct, very nice.
Yeah. And millets is also called, we can do two maps, that dryland areas and where the millets are cultivated, the Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra part. And we can see that why millets can be helpful. Discuss the constant and opportunities in millet cultivation in India. So we can give some introduction about millet cultivation in India, where we have used those maps. And in constant, we could have wrote that like it is limited to a few parts of the country, and how we are focusing more on rice wet, the canal irrigation. All this has diverted India's agrodiversity towards rice wet. So this issue, and also in constant we can write that lack of awareness, all these things. And in opportunities, we can link it with the agroecological regions of India where millets is suitable. And opportunity you also can write that what all schemes are India is implementing and how it is changing the narrative. Like in Odisha Millets Mission, I could have given one case study kind of thing. And how it has been successful in the tribal belt of Odisha. So like that, I would have approached this question.
In fact, I tell everybody, if they can and they should master one or two states detail, whichever state they come from. Okay, what are the districts? What are the rivers? What are the programs? Yeah,
I get many examples from Odisha in all my papers because I was acquainted with all these schemes. Yes.
And you could draw the map of Odisha and show the case studies, districts, and illustrate it. Brilliant, excellent, excellent. Any other question you want to take up, Prajnanandan? There is one on energy resources, one on pharma industry. Okay. In fact, I would like to ask you a question. Did you attempt question number 3? I do not know. India pharma industry, volume to value, or problems of floods?
I approached 2, 7, and 8.
2, 7, and 8. Okay.
Among these, 2A and 7B, these are some questions where I did not have much content, but I wrote them.
Okay.
But others are direct. Millets, geostrategic significance of Indian islands. These are direct questions. And Green Energy Initiative of India, that is also direct. And Indira Gandhi Canal Command Area Development, that is directly from syllabus. So in that poultry sector question, that I have to, this is very unconventional, like we don't study about poultry sector during our coaching classes. So this I attempted, and I also drew many diagrams there also.
So if you can take up this one, it's an unusual question. You can't be prepared. Okay, so how do you attempt this?
So in poultry sector, first I gave some potential that poultry sector can help us in integrated farming. So apart from just, and I also may have shown that cyclic way, how poultry sector can be integrated into the normal cultivation. Like the poultry food, the food comes from the poultry food comes from what, like the leftover amount from rice wet, or also it can be integrated into fisheries. So that may have I may have given that in the challenges part. And first, to explain, the India's poultry sector has become one of the fastest growing areas of the country's agriculture sector. So I could have given some examples, some reasons why it is fastest growing area, because India have many small and marginal farmers. So, and poultry sector can have given them some additional income as well. And it's opportunity. Then I would have drawn a map of India and which part has more poultry sector. I would have given that. And particularly here I took a guess that like the North Indian is vegetarian. So, and in South India, it might be in South India and from Eastern India. So I could have given that intensive poultry farming and some mid-level farming and some rare poultry sector, like the density map can be given, like highest, medium, and lowest. So highest is this coastal area, like the Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu,
Makes
this part.
sense. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not sure whether this is correct or not, but I have given this eastern side that it is highest in poultry sector.
Because you're
And lowest,
familiar with Odisha, so you could have
yes,
related that with Odisha.
yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
Absolutely. Yeah.
and I saw less in the part of northern part. That is the lowest density of poultry sector is found there. And also I would have given some examples of poultry variety also. I'm unable to recall now, but some Kadaknath kind of chicken is there in West
Yes,
Bengal.
yes.
Yes, and
Yes,
some
yes.
and other some two three names I would have remembered, but I am forgetting now. So
Okay.
that I have given in opportunities, I think. So examine its
Okay.
opportunities. So one will be small and marginal farmers are there. It will give them additional income. And the dryland farming area could have poultry as a shock absorber kind of thing. And it can also help in the climate resilient agriculture in opportunities. And I think these are few on, and also in opportunity we can write that it can be integrated into aqua farming also, aquaculture
Okay.
also.
Because of
Because the
the chicken
excreta
feed
of poultry
and
sector, yes, yes. The excreta of poultry sector can be a feed for the fisheries.
oh, okay. I
So
didn't know that. Okay.
like
Okay.
so
So
that I
again,
think
if I rephrase it, so what I find both in the previous question of millets and with this one, you have answered every part of the question. Okay. So if the first statement says poultry sector the fastest growing areas, you pick up that word, yes, it is fastest growing, and then you tell us why is growing, some data there. Then you have made a point to show some map in terms of some distribution, maybe density or areas like in millets you talked about the talent farming areas, what type of millets. So map you have shown distribution. Then you have separately taken up the word opportunities, 1, 2, 3, 4. With paper one, you're linking talent farming, you're linking agroclimatic
agroclimatic
maybe
conditions.
regions, you're linking that with small farmers, marginal farmers, and all of that. And then separately challenges. The same you have done even in the previous question.
Yes.
Nutri-serious, climate resilient. You use the word constraints, you use the word opportunities, and then you have developed it. Okay,
Yes.
so very nice. So read the question properly, know the subpart of the questions, and for each subpart, elaborate it. Use maps. Okay, and you have used lot of local examples, right? From
Yes.
Odisha, from your district, from your
Yes.
experience. Excellent, excellent. Prajanan, I get a sense of how you must have answered. Uh, uh, how did I or Edukemy contribute to your process, if we did, or what do you think we have supported? Because for the benefit of all our viewers, Prajanan was a part of our test series for the mains. We call that as MSP program, enrichment program. He was part of that. So if you can tell us something there, Prajanan.
Yeah, so MSP I joined after doing my foundational course from another institute. So in MSP, I came to learn about how to write answers, how to think of the subtopics, like now how I am thinking. So that part I developed from the MSP also. Like you gave us a question and you gave some time to us to think about it and how we can think, how we can link our whatever we learned that is in our mind and how we can link that into the answer. So how to answer the question, I think I learned that from you. And like some questions are also direct from MSP this time, like the critical minerals questions that you have done in your MSP classes. You have done the India map and so on, which critical minerals is found in which part and what are the potentials. That also in transport part also, this terms like this transport is a subject which is very non-geographical topic. So there also as far as I remember the terms like massification, atomization, all I learned from the MSP class, and they are new for me, and I have implemented these in also in my answers. Similarly,
Okay.
so in that way, I think it's helped me. Mainly, we have in geography optional we face this problem that we don't know how to answer to a question. We might have studied many things, we might have all the contents, but we don't know how to answer the question. So I think that part I learned from MSP.
I'm really happy we were of some use, Prajanan. I do appreciate the fact, yes, a lot of things you have used your own understanding, your own thinking, your own experiences. But yes, there is a method how you can structure it. Okay.
Yes.
So how did your preparation of geography go through? How did you pick up geography? How did you study geography? If something can tell us there.
Yeah, so I chose geography as an optional because it was I had graduation in chemistry, so I had two
Okay.
options, either chemistry or one from GS, like one from geography or something else. But I chose geography because I had interest in it from since my school days also, and I am more into these maps, Google Map, Google Earth, all these things. So I love to explore the landscapes and all the natural places. That also I have mentioned in one of my hobbies in interview also. So in
Okay.
that way, I think that was the reason I chose geography. But I did not know at that time that it is like the syllabus is huge and generally it is not mark fetching. Some kind of rumors are there. So I did not know about that before choosing geography, but I chose only because of my interest in. And
Okay.
after that, I took foundational course from another institute, and but it was not holistic and like they only taught us around 50 to 60% of the content. So there was many
Okay.
lacking in my preparation. So I tried to bridge that through this enrichment course like MSP and
Okay.
and some I also took from other institute. So, but what happened is that by running after so many courses, we can complete one course. So I could not complete both the course, and it took me. This happened in my second attempt. Then in my third attempt, I tried to first complete the classes and tried to
Okay.
gather all the notes, and I tried to give the exam. But in what happened that I became more overconfident that if I am getting 258 in my second attempt, so I thought that automatically my marks will improve to 275 in my third attempt. But it backfired also, and I got around 230 in my third attempt. So it is
Oh,
around 20 marks of decrease, which was surprising for me. Otherwise, I could have got a rank in last attempt only. So geography was the reason I could not get rank in third attempt. So in fourth attempt, I had lots of content in my first three attempts, so I did not focus much on taking new classes or something. And I studied, I revised all my notes. The only focus of me was that I should complete all the topics of syllabus.
okay.
Every topic, I should not leave any one topic. Even
Okay.
one topic. So in that way, I prepared this time, and I also gave many test series also. And in that way, I improved this time. And I told as fast that I did not write any generic point this time. I tried to add at least one example after every sentence. I think that helped this time to improve my marks from 230 to 284. Around 50 marks I improved.
So I think in the previous attempts, geography was the reason you didn't qualify. And this time when you did qualify, I think geography played a good role.
Yes.
Along with, of course, your interview marks are brilliant, Prajanan. 198 is, I think, among the top 10, 15 marks probably that you have received. Anybody has got.
Yes.
For the benefit of all our viewers, Prajanan was not our foundation student. He was a student in our test series, the MSP enrichment course. But it's our loss,
Sir,
Prajanan. I wish you
so
were
the
part of
reason,
my.
yes, sir, the reason is that when I started my preparation, your course was not available online. I think
Ah,
your foundation
okay.
course started after 2021. I think you started your online classes.
During the COVID time,
COVID.
2020
Yes,
had started. Yes, yes.
yes,
But it's my loss. I wish you were there. Okay, and I would have loved to help you there.
sir.
Okay. So Prajanand, one problem students have is how to manage current affairs with the geography part. Was it daily reading of newspaper that helped you, or some very focused topic-wise study of current affairs? What was your approach
No,
for
I think
geography in particular?
for geography, I think reading newspaper only helped. Also, I used to read Yojana and Kurukshetra. And in Yojana, Kurukshetra, it was not that much helpful, but Yojana was very helpful. And particularly, Yojana had these editions like some editions are very helpful for geography, like the water conservation one, the
Okay,
agricultural edition one. So I think after every 12 or 13 edition, they repeat the topics.
right.
And I think we should follow. Yojana is a very helpful magazine for geography optional.
So Yojana you have followed, and Kurukshetra you mentioned, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. Newspaper
Anything
is limited
else?
helpful because it is more focused on the rural aspect. So I think in
Yes.
regional development we can use examples from Purush Sector, but Yojana is a holistic thing.
Yojana is a holistic one.
Yes.
Yes. One more question, Prajanand. You are in OS already, Odisha Administrative Services, and you qualified into IAS. This is always a dilemma for the students. Should they go for state service first, then come for UPSC, or should they prepare for UPSC first, try one attempt or two attempts, then go to the state? So, what would you suggest from your experience? What would you suggest would be a better one for some maybe to consider?
I think actually there are two types of students. One who first dedicatedly focus on UPSC and don't think about backup, and second is who think about backup parallelly. So actually I was the second type. So I focused on backup from beginning only. So before when I gave my first attempt of UPSC, I was giving my first attempt of OPSC also.
Okay.
So but I could not qualify in first attempt in UPSC, but I qualified there. And I joined ORS, Odisha Revenue Service, in my first attempt. And in second attempt, my second attempt of UPSC was my second attempt of OPSC also that year, 2021. So in that year, I joined the Odisha Administrative Service. So I think one way it helped me, like I cannot say that it did not help me, because in interview this time that I got 198, it was because of my job only. Because the whole interview, the 90% of interview was focused on my job and Odisha's politics, its administration and Odisha's culture. I think it was completely focused on my job and my background. Okay. So I think in that way it helped me. But one negative thing is that I could not get good marks in my second attempt or third attempt is because of the job I had. Because first of all, I could not give 100% of time during my mains preparation. And secondly, in my second attempt, I had this OPSC and UPSC in 1 month. Like in January, that time we had mains. So I completed UPSC in 15th January, and from 17th January, OPSC mains was starting. So in that way, I had to balance both. And in our state PCS, we had 2 optionals. So I had to manage 1 more optionals in between that period. So I think in that way, my preparation was not 100% focused. And I think if we see all my four attempts, this is my first attempt where I could give my 100% times between prelims and mains to UPSC preparation. So I think if we are preparing for UPSC, we should give our 100%. At least for past 2 or 3 attempts, we should focus only on UPSC. And then if we don't qualify in second attempt, we should start preparing for the state civil service also. But nowadays, this state PCS, the syllabus is completely same with OPS.
Yes.
UPSC. So in that way, I think there is no issue if we simultaneously prepare both. But in our time, the syllabus is different. Was different.
I'm happy you say this because I also recommend the same thing, that the preparation should be very intense for UPSC. After you have a good command on the mains, then you can go for whatever examinations you want. Okay, so fine, it works either ways. But the challenge, I think, like you said, how to manage the examinations, and if you are posted with the work responsibilities, how to prepare, that is a difficult thing to juggle in that case. Right. Okay. Prajnanandan, if I ask you, what is it you would do differently? You have taken 4 attempts, you're almost there. So if somebody was to start from day 1 in geography, for example, so what would you suggest to him? Step 1, step 2, step 3, if you can tell us briefly. To avoid the mistakes you may have made, yes.
Okay. So I think first the foundation course should be done from good institute and good teacher like you. And
thank you.
It should be some good institute, because if we don't do foundation course from completely, or we don't complete the 100% syllabus in our foundation course, I think that makes a problem in future attempts. Or we could not attempt 100% questions in. There will be lack of confidence in that case, and that was there in me in my first and second attempt.
Right.
So okay. I think foundation course should be done from a good institute, first step. And second would be there should be enrichment to the foundation course. And then whatever content we generated in these 2 things, in foundation course and one content enrichment program, I think we have to revise that part only completely. And the revisions should be very strong. I think multiple revisions should be there. And then we should practice answer writing in test series. And then we will see what are the lacuna we have. And I think after that, if we revise properly in this foundation course and enrichment class, I think there will not be much gaps, and we will only have to improve our structure of the answer, because we will not lack in content in that case if we are revising properly the foundation course and one enrichment course. So I think this will be an ideal approach to geography.
Very systematic. Do your base first very well. Then you add on to the content, revise thoroughly with whatever details you can, give a test series, and in the test series, whatever additional you want to add, facts, data, case studies. Okay, brilliant, excellent. I really appreciate this. When did you start preparing, Prajnanandan? Was it in college itself you started, or a bit later after your graduation?
No, so I was in integrated MSc. So in my 5th year, I started to think about taking civil service as my career. Okay. So I started preparation in my 5th year, like reading NCERTs and all. But my real preparation started after the COVID lockdown in April 2020.
Okay.
So that was after my graduation.
So while you had thought through in your graduation through course, yes, the preparation began actually after the graduation course.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think even that's what we recommend. All the students do start off a bit earlier these years because of online services. Okay, but do you also agree? Like I say, you require at least 1 or 2 years of good preparation.
Yes.
Okay, so that you can clear the examination.
Yeah. I think 2 years, if you are taking geography optional, 2 years is a good time to prepare for UPSC.
I must congratulate you one more thing, because with your batch, with your marks, even last year's mark for that matter, marks in geography are pretty high now. Yes. The average marks in geography compared to most other options is among the highest in geography, 280 plus, 290 plus, 300 plus. So I think people like you have contributed to geography's marks. I hope it continues for some time more. Anything you want to suggest, Prajnanandan, to our students, to aspirants in general? Whatever recommendations you might have from experience.
I think from my experience, one thing also from my interactions with many aspirants, I came to know that people are actually, the main mistake we do is running behind perfection. So we should have perfect notes, everything should be perfect answers. But I think that is not the approach to clear the exam. Because my preparation, if I see, I think it is not that much perfect, because I did not have perfect notes, or not everything was not perfect. So I may be relatively better than the other aspirants, like while answering the questions. But I think we should have the minimum working content, that much we should have, the basic contents. And secondly, I would suggest that the conceptual clarity should be there, particularly if you are taking subjects like geography, even in GS also, like in polity or economics. I think conceptual understanding should be there. And because lacking in concept, we may write also wrong answers in
wrong answers.
Even if we know the answers, we may write wrong answers if we are not conceptually clear. And also, I think for prelims, I would suggest that we should also develop that intuition skills, because that helps me clear for prelims, and that comes from experience. I think comes from experience and comes from good syllabus coverage. Like our basics should be strong. All that we should ensure that if the questions is coming from the basic books like Spectrum, Lakshmikant, NCERT, we should not do mistakes in that. Okay. So that should be our minimum approach in prelims. And that much only I would suggest. And I think we should also go through all the toppers' notes and their answers. I think that is a better approach, because and we should also see. I have in my preparation, I have gone through many toppers' answer sheets that is uploaded in various coaching institutes website, and that gives us like many insights about how the answer should be. And that if we go. But we should not imitate their answers, and we should learn from every answer. Then we should relate our strength with them. Like I found my answers similar to few toppers, so I followed their approach only. And I also, so that I think will help. We should go through the toppers answer sheets, because we don't have the original answer sheet. So that the closest we can go to the model answers is going through toppers answer sheet.
Toppers answers. So you have mentioned, don't try perfection, keep on working. Conceptual clarity is a must. Okay. If questions are asked from structured content, standard books, don't make a mistake in that. And toppers notes are important, guiding
Toppers answer booklets, like
answer booklets. Yeah. And you have mentioned that earlier, but I'll repeat. Revision of the notes is very important. More than reading more, I think revision, re-revision, that's a very important step. Excellent. Anything can add, Prajnanandan, on the essays preparation? I don't know if you're aware or not. I have also been teaching essays for a long time.
Yes.
But any input from your side, even I could take up. What was strategy for essays? How did you prepare for the essays? Because 122 this year is a decent one.
So essay also in first attempt I got around 134. And
Wow.
next attempt I got 120, then 106. So it was decreasing for first 3 attempts, 134 to 106. And this time I got 122, which is an average mark. So my essay attempt was, I learned from the approach of Anudeep Durisetti, and the 2016 or 17 topper. So he has a book called Fundamentals of Essay Writing or something. So I followed that approach, like to divide the topic into pastel: politics, political, economic, science and tech, environmental, legal aspects, and then frame our answers in that line. But nowadays, this approach has been becoming very common, and I think that's how my marks decrease. So now we have to add different frameworks to it, like first introduction, that will be an anecdote, and then link the subject to the anecdote, and write one paragraph about the topic. That paragraph should be ethical arguments. That should contain ethical arguments about the topic and around the topic. And after that, we start in support of the topic, like politically, economically, historically, how this topic is applicable. And then after writing the in support of the topic, there should be some antithesis to it. And antithesis to it, and one paragraph should be antithesis, that this topic is right, but its opposite may also be right.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then after that, I will summarize the whole topic, that this is right, but one line will be there that the opposite may also be right. And then I would write some conclusion with some quotes. And in writing, I would maintain the flow, like I would link the first paragraph to second paragraph, second to third, like that. And I also wrote in a question format, like I don't write antithesis like that, but I will write that, but whatever is discussed, is it true? Like that question mark will be there.
You put is it true question mark, and then
Yes, sir. And that it's kind of questioning, it's kind of discussion type of, so the reading will not be boring, and it will the flow will also be maintained.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I hear you. Although I have reservations about the pestle method, but it has worked for you. I can see that. Yes, that's a good cue. Yeah.
Now, if we write only pastel in whole essay, so it will become boring, because in polity will give example, in environment we will give just examples. So we have to develop an approach where the pastel content will be there, but the flow and framework will be little different.
Different, yes. Otherwise, you're right, it's becoming mechanical. Yes. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. For example, sir, I also have written in some where I would have written past, present, future in that approach. And in past, I would have put that pastel approach in there, like that, framework within framework approach also I followed.
You have a bigger framework. Within that, you can take some sprinkling of the pastel. Yes. So if I again recall, you start with an anecdote, then you went on to ethical dimension of the topic, then you open that up with some dimensions, you link the paragraphs, you come towards one antithesis of the topic.
Yes.
With examples. Okay. Then you move towards summarization, conclude the essay. Okay, fine.
The conclusion should be futuristic, and I used to give Sanskrit slokas in conclusion wherever I go.
I personally think a lot of ethics paper content can use essays.
Yes.
Because abstract essays are there, topics are philosophical.
Yes.
A lot of discussions from ethics paper can be used.
And the issue is, when we follow this pastel approach, our essay becomes GS-like answers. So that backfires.
Yes.
So we have to add the ethical approach to it. That may be the framework. That may be pastel, may be the approach to gather content. but the content should be arranged in an essay-like manner and not a GS-like and so.
So while you're using the pastel tool, don't make it very obvious.
Yes.
Otherwise, look like series of short notes from GS.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's the intelligent way of Prajnanandan. The intelligent way, because people use the pastel metal with mechanically.
Yes.
And that's one reason you're right. It's very repeated. It is very, very boring beyond a point.
I think that decreased my marks in my first 3 attempt. Okay. So 134 to 106. I was following that approach there.
You were getting mechanical somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent. Very nice. So about geography, Prajnanandan, do you think, yes, I agree geography has a bit more of syllabus, but what is your opinion about geography's advantage in the GS paper? Do you see that advantage, or how did you rationalize this?
No, I think it has great advantage in GS because many topics are overlapping. First of all, GS1, geography is directly there. Then in GS3, the agriculture part, that geography helps in that. It's vice versa actually, like GS3 helps in geography, also geography helps in the agriculture of GS3. Yes. And then the disaster management part, that is also geography. And some part of international relation also, geopolitics is there. So in that way, I think overlapping is there, very much overlapping is there. And that also helps, like the geography helps in GS and also GS helps in geography.
Yeah, I personally think geography has a very good overlap with GS.
Yes, sir.
If we can use it properly. So would you recommend geography for students? That's my main domain.
I would recommend geography to students who have interest in geography, and we should not take it like it gives more marks or it is overlapping with GS kind of. If we have little interest in geography, I think we should pursue it.
Interest is primary factor, definitely.
Yes, because in long run, I think it if we don't have geography, if we don't have interest in geography, it will be difficult to study it and to go to the depth it requires.
That's true probably for all options. If you should have interest, yes, otherwise you cannot go deep, you cannot study repeatedly, you can't enrich, you can't involve yourself. Yes.
Like if we have interest, it won't be stressful for us to study more. So I think otherwise sometimes optional become headache and it becomes stressful. But even if I get less marks in geography, reading it never becomes stressful for me. Right. I always enjoy geography in such.
Right, excellent. Oh, Prajnanandan, it was lovely talking to you. Very proud of you. It's a big achievement for you, for your family. My regards to them. My wishes do well in life. And in case I will bother you 1 or 2 times, please do talk to me. Just take some inputs, maybe. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Bless you. My wishes to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.